Good morning. The August 22nd, 2018 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. In the interest of promoting the order and the efficiencies of these hearings, persons who are disruptive to the hearing will be asked to leave the hearing room immediately. Meetings of the Board of Estimates are open to the public for the duration of the meeting. The hearing room must be vacated at the conclusion of the meeting. Failure to comply may result in a charge of trespassing. Madam Deputy Controller, are there any corrections, additions, or deferrals on the agenda?
Good morning. For today's agenda, we did not receive any additional protests.
Okay, yeah.
There is one correction on page 23 for the last item. The description reads examiners airfare round trip 38. Please delete 38. There are only 13 examiners. Page 36, items 1 and 2 will be deferred for 1 week. We have 2 items that remain on the non-routine agenda, and those are pages 65, item number 1, and item number 2. In the absence of Mr. Andre Davis, City Solicitor, Ms. Dana Moore will sit and act on his behalf. In the absence of Mr. Rudolph Trow, Director of Public Works, Ms. Dale Thompson will sit and act on his behalf. I have no abstentions to report this morning for any of the board members. Mr. President, members of the board, that is the one correction, the items that has been deferred, as well as the 2 items on the non-routine agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. I would direct the board members' attention to the memorandum from my office dated August the 20th, 2018, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items together with any corrections and additions that have been noted by the Deputy Controller. I will entertain the motion to approve all of the items contained on the routine agenda.
Mr. President, I move approval of all of the items on the routine agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carried. The routine agenda has been approved. The first item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 65, item 1, Department of Audits, Performance Audit Report of the Baltimore City Health Department, fiscal years ending June 30th, 2017 and 2016. The parties, please come forward. Health Department is here. Anybody from the Health Department? Anybody from the Health Department? Is Dr. Wynn?
Dr. Wynn is not able to attend this morning. She had a prior commitment.
Okay. All right. A prior commitment.
Good morning, members of the board, President Young, Mayor Pugh, Controller Joan Pratt. My name is Audrey Askew, City Auditor. The first audit to the Baltimore City Health Department was led by our Performance Audit Division. The purpose of that audit is the biannual Audit Oversight Committee charged the Department of Audit with performing 8 audits this year. The first finding is environmental health, % of mandated food service facility inspections completed. Finding number 1 relates to targets. Baltimore City Health Department Environmental Health Services did not meet its targets for the % of mandated food service facility inspections completed during fiscal years 2017 and 16. According to Baltimore City Health Department, there are 3 types of inspections. High priority facilities required by COMAR to be inspected 3 times a year. Moderate priority facility required by COMAR to be inspected twice a year. And low priority facility required by COMAR to be inspected once every 2 years. For the target was 65% both years. In 2017, actual was 40.2%, and in 16, 55.8%, they were below the target. According to Baltimore City Health Department, the total number of inspections required during fiscal years 17 and 16 was 8,665. However, Baltimore City Health Department did not have supporting documentation for the 8,665 inspections. Records provided by Baltimore City Health Department show that 3,483 and 4,836 routine inspections were completed during fiscal years 2017 and 16 respectively. Because Baltimore City Health Department reported that it did not meet its targets for fiscal years 17 and 16. The Baltimore City Health Department did not maintain records to support the total number of inspections that should have been done. We did not perform additional testing of the amounts reported by Baltimore City Health Department. The Baltimore City Health Department had 13 food control inspectors during fiscal year 17 and 16. However, according to a State Department of Health and Mental Hygiene report dated September 2016, Baltimore City Health Department would need 41 food control inspectors to meet the requirements of COMAR. Based on our interview with Environmental Health Services, staffing is not adequate as there are about 5,000 food service facilities with 13 food inspectors to perform the mandated inspection. Also, according to information Baltimore City Health Department provided to the Bureau of Budget and Management Research, the fiscal year 2017 decrease in the percentage of inspections completed was due to reallocation of resources for the prevention of Zika virus. The effect, by not meeting the target for mandated food services facility inspections completed, there is a potential risk the food service facilities do not meet the requirements set forth by COMAR. The situation could result in potential public health problems and issues. We recommend Baltimore City Health Department consider the possibility of hiring more food control inspectors in order to meet the targets for the number of inspections required by COMAR. We also recommend Baltimore City Health Department maintain records to support the number of inspections that should be conducted during the fiscal year. You want to comment now, or did you?
Whatever the preference of the board. My name is Malcolm Haynes. I'm Chief of Finance and Administration for the Baltimore City Health Department, representing the department this morning. If it pleases the board, I'll respond to each finding piece by piece. So the department agrees with this particular finding, especially with the findings associated with the inability to meet the targets related to the number of health inspections. The department has 13 environmental health inspectors budgeted in the current year budget, and a previous audit conducted by the State Department of Health found that we require 41, as Auditor Askew cited. The fact is simply that we don't have the budget dollars available in this particular service to support.
To your report, though, you said you reallocated your dollars to accommodate the Zika virus issue. And so either you're not organized correctly to do what you're supposed to do, because that's what the report says, that you reallocated the dollars for inspection for Zika.
Correct. There were some dollars in the budget in fiscal 15, I believe, that were reallocated in response to the Zika outbreak that happened during that time. And, you know, our resources being finite as they are, we didn't have an ability to backfill or reallocate or, you know, essentially replenish those resources that we took from the Environmental Inspection Service.
Finding number 2, inconsistency.
I just wanted to make one observation and just ask for clarification. With respect to your conclusion that the effect is that the health facilities are not inspected and that could result in poor health for Baltimoreans, isn't it more accurate to say that some were not inspected, and so that for those that were not inspected, there's a risk associated with just that 35% that were not inspected?
The effect is based on overall audit finding.
Okay, and the overall audit finding, though, is that 65% were inspected, 35% were not. Do I have that right?
The target was 65%.
So the target was 65%, and what percentage of the target was not achieved?
If the results are in here.
And could you just remind me of what that was?
It's on page 4.
Could you just remind me of what that result was, please?
On page 4, it says 2017 was 40.2, and 16 was 55.8.
And how many restaurants or facilities does that translate to?
We only audit a sample.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So of the sample, I just want to understand your methodology. So you audited a sample, and from that you extrapolate and apply it to all of the facilities, or no?
Based on the finding, it states that we could not continue because the agency we could not perform additional testing because they did not maintain the records to support.
Okay, so really what I'm looking at is the effect. And because what the public hears is the effect.
We're going to, move on.
Okay, thank you.
Inconsistency condition. The fiscal year 2016 actual amount was inconsistently reported in the fiscal years 2019 and 2018 budget books as 55.8% and 77% respectively. Actual amounts for performance measures are normally reported 2 years after the applicable fiscal year. Criteria: proper internal controls over information data being reported. Because Baltimore City Health Department Environmental Health Services created a new reporting system during fiscal year 2016 in the quality management software system to extract data. The report indicated a 77% inspection completion rate, 22% over the previous year. Baltimore City Health Department believed that the increase was attributed to a more accurate report that was generated by the QMS. According to Baltimore City Health Department, however, because the fiscal year 2017 data collected varied significantly from the fiscal year 2016 report, the fiscal year 2016 report was rerun. Based on that rerun for fiscal year 2016, Baltimore City Health Department determined the correct amount should have been 55.8. The effect: providing incorrect data would cause performance results to be misleading. Recommendation: prior year actual performance measures amounts should not be changed in subsequent year budget books without approval by the Department of Finance and adequate disclosure in the city's budget book by the Bureau of Budget and Management Research in order to avoid misleading performance results. We also recommend Baltimore City Health Department implement procedures to review reports and the data contained therein, especially those reports that support the performance measure results for completeness and accuracy. I would like to add on this that I did meet with BBMR, and I do know that they're going to add a clause in here to state all changes will be documented in the book. So I just want to state that for you. I'm aware that they will be making changes to the budget book. But if you would like to add.
And again, the department agrees with this particular finding. As Auditor Askew mentioned, the main cause of this issue is the department went through a migration of its management information system related to environmental inspections, and that caused the data essentially associated with health inspections of restaurants to become a little bit more accurate because you used a more ideal vendor. As a result, the actuals from fiscal 16 changed from one budget book to the next. Moving forward, I don't anticipate this as being an issue, but it does require more consistent and clear communication with BVMR as it relates to performance measure reporting.
Finding number 3, no written policies and procedures. Baltimore City Health Department did not have written policies and procedures available for monitoring, controlling, and reporting storeroom inventories. Let me back up. Finding number 3 relates to storeroom policies and procedures. According to Baltimore City Health Department, there are 48 different locations for the various storeroom inventories, and each of its own policies and procedures. We visited 7 of the 48 stockrooms, and requested written policies and procedures. 3 of the stockrooms, 2 located at 620 North Caroline, and 1 stockroom located at 2901 Druid Park Drive, were unable to provide the written policies and procedures to monitor, control, conduct physical inventories, and report inventory amounts. In addition, there were no centralized reports to account for total inventory amounts and dollar value of Baltimore City Health Department's total inventory. The criteria: per the City of Baltimore's administrative manual, agencies or bureaus shall physically count all materials, tools, and equipment at least once per fiscal year and establish a procedure for performing continuous cycle counts for high theft and/or high dollar items. Written policies and procedures were not available at the time of request. The effect: the absence of written policies and procedures contributes to weak internal controls, inefficient operations, and assets that are not adequately secured and safeguarded against loss or unauthorized use. Recommendation: we recommend Baltimore City Health Department establish standardized basic inventory policies and procedures for all stock rooms in order to safeguard assets, to ensure that the stock rooms are operating effectively and efficiently, and to account for all additions to and withdrawals from inventory. We recommend Baltimore City Health Department maintain records to document periodic inventory counts, compare those counts to the inventory records, and investigate any differences. We also recommend BCHD develop a centralized reporting system for total inventory amounts and total value of those inventories.
And just for clarification, finding 3 through 8, I believe, are all related to the stock and storeroom program within the department. The department is in agreement with all the findings associated with this particular programmatic area and recognizes that there are some internal weaknesses related to stock and storeroom management. A lot of this is attributable to the fact that the health department is largely grant funded, and the separation of various stock and storeroom materials is necessary and inherently complex. The department is actively promulgating policies internally to provide for more centralized control and management of the department's inventory across various programs.
Okay. Finding number 4, segregation of duties. Duties for proper inventory control were not adequately, so do you want me to read 4 through, read the
Why don't you just continue?
Okay. Duties for proper inventory controls were not adequately segregated. During our audit of the procedures for each of the 7 stockrooms we visited, we requested documentation from BCHD for employees with stockroom access, actual custody, employees in charge of inventory records, employees that perform the actual inventory counts. For those 7 stockrooms, 2 located at 620 North Caroline, 2 stockrooms located at 842 Hillen, and 1 located at 7 East Redwood, showed that the designated employee responsible for physical inventory was also responsible for maintaining the inventory records. The other 2 stockrooms, 1001 East Fayette and 2901 Drew Park Drive, showed that there were 2 employees performing the physical inventory, but one of those employees also maintained inventory records. Criterion to properly designed inventory system, duties should be adequately segregated to reduce the opportunity for someone to both perpetrate and conceal errors and irregularities in the normal course of duties. Baltimore City Health Department did not have written standardized procedures addressing adequate segregation of duties related to the stockroom operations. Without adequate segregation of duties, assets held in a stockroom become susceptible to loss or unauthorized use because of lack of controls. And we recommend Baltimore City Health Department segregate the key stockroom duties and responsibilities to different employees to secure the safeguard assets against unauthorized use or risk of loss without being detected in a timely manner. Finding 5, absolute.
I think what he was sharing with you, you were talking about inventory. No, you don't have to read that. You can go to.
So go to
yeah.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Substance abuse and mental health service 307. How successful is the naloxone program? Audit results. Naloxone is a medication administered to reverse the effect of opioid overdose and is commonly referred to by the brand name Narcan. In 2016, Baltimore City Health Department Stay Alive program, SAP, started supplying naloxone as the city has seen an increase in opioid-related deaths and overdoses. In June 2017, the Health Commission of Baltimore City issued an updated standing order, blanket prescription, to allow pharmacies to dispense naloxone to anyone, regardless of whether the person has been trained by the overdose response program. Naloxone has a low risk of side effects and has no potential for abuse. Baltimore City Health Department defines the success of the program and the number of reversals performed and collects its data through SAP in conjunction with its needle exchange program. The performance measures for the naloxone program are determined by the state and do not include target numbers to achieve. Baltimore City Health Department is only required to collect and tabulate data on the city-run ORP. Baltimore City Health Department also receives the data from other Baltimore City ORPs on a monthly basis, and the aggregate data is reported to the state monthly. The Baltimore City Fire Department, EMS, and the Baltimore City Police Department also perform overdose reversals. However, their numbers are not included in the SAP ORP data. BCPD recently started reporting its reversals to BCHD through the Opioid Education and Naloxone Distribution Data Collection. BCFD EMS reported reversals during the calendar years 2017 and 16 of 5,125 and 4,253 respectively. BCPD also reported reversals for calendar year 2017 and 16 as 108 and 81 respectively. Baltimore City Fire Department, EMS, and Baltimore City Police Department are not considered as an overdose response program. Now for calendar years 17, 16, and 15, the table gives you data on the number of naloxone kits distributed. So in 17 it was 6,521, 16, 4,721, 15, 1,909, which is a total cumulative total of 13,151. The number of reversals reported in 17 was 979, and in 16, 460. No data on 15. Cumulative data of 1,439. The number shown in the chart above represents only Baltimore City Health Department, do not include other overdose response programs. Additionally, Baltimore City Health Department believes that the number of reversals shown above were underreported, since not all reversals performed were reported to Baltimore City Health Department. Based on the above information, the number of reversals performed has increased during the 3-year period and indicates that apparently the naloxone program is successful, since more lives have been saved. And we do commend them on that. We did have 2 findings. They're minor, but overall we believe that the program was successful. Finding number 8, incomplete overdose reversal forms. Some of the overdose reversal forms were missing key information. During our audit, we selected 20 overdose reversal forms to review for completeness of data and key fields necessary to evaluate the success of the naloxone program. We found 4 of the 20 forms were missing some key information. For example, number of doses administered, whether the naloxone worked, and whether it was reported by the person who administered the naloxone. Proper control and processes should be designed to provide reasonable assurance regarding the effectiveness and efficiency of operations and reliability of reported amounts. While completing overdose reversal forms, BCPHD staff did not complete all relevant key data fields. Lack of complete information could hinder the ability of Baltimore City Health Department to fully analyze data to determine the impact of the program. And we recommend Baltimore City Health Department establish procedures to ensure the completeness of information included on the overdose reversal form, especially the key information to assess the success of the naloxone program. We also recommend Baltimore City Health Department communicate to the staff the need to completely and accurately fill out the forms.
And again, the department is in agreement with finding number 8 related to overdose reversal forms. And moving forward, the department is working actively to revisit its training protocol for both internal staff and external service partners, and in many instances, just folks of the everyday public, to make sure that proper procedures are followed related to the completion of forms subsequent to the administering of naloxone.
Finding 9, inaccurate data preparation. During our audit of the schedules to support the annual consolidated opioid education and naloxone distribution state report, we found various clerical or formula errors where data had not been correctly reported in the row or column totals from the supporting schedules. Proper control processes should be designed to provide reasonable assurance regarding the effectiveness and efficiency of operations and reliability of reported amounts. The inaccurate totals were due to errors in the formulas input into the Excel file OEND report used to calculate the data. Errors in the input formulas will cause the data to calculate incorrectly, causing the required reporting fields in the state report to be inaccurate. We recommend that Baltimore City Health Department establish procedures to review the formulas for completeness and accuracy of information that supports the OEND state reports.
And again, the department is in agreement with this particular finding. The department has updated its opioid education reporting to the State Department of Health, and will do more quality control moving forward as subsequent reporting takes place.
Okay, well, we want within 90 days that you all come back before the board and let us know how far you have gone with correcting these deficiencies. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
This is the next one. Okay.
The second item on our routine agenda can be found on page 36, item number 2, Department of Audits, Performance Audit Report, Baltimore City Department of Recreation and Parks, contracts. Will the parties please come forward? Okay, let's go.
This audit was led by our Special Projects Division. Just to let you know, this contracts RP 15826 and RP 17801. And for findings 5, 6, and 7, they were repeat findings on both contracts. So in essence of time, we just state the first 4 findings related to the first contract, but again, The other contract did have repeat findings as well. Construction of Radke Park toilet facility for fiscal year 17, finding number 1, supporting documentation for billings. Recreation and Parks was unable to provide invoices or other acceptable documentation as proof of expenses incurred by the contractor, DSM Properties, LLC, for each of its billings for the Radke Park toilet facility contract. According to the city's Green Book, progress payment procedures where a lump sum contract is involved, the contractor shall submit for the engineer's approval a schedule of payment outlining quantities, items, values, etc., to be used in the calculation of monthly estimates. This section also states costs incurred by the contractor as specified may be included for payment in full the first monthly voucher, provided such payment has been approved as outlined above, and provided that receipted invoices or other acceptable documentation is presented for the engineer's record as proof of expenses incurred. In addition, according to the Recreation and Parks project manager, approval of contract billings was based on the percentage of work completed as reported and reviewed by Recreation and Parks project inspectors. The cause Recreation and Parks project management did not require that contractor to submit proof of expenses incurred. In addition, Recreation and Parks did not have project inspectors' reports to support percentage of work completed, billings, or payments. In effect, without adequate documentation to support the cost billed and percentage of work completed, there is no assurance that the contract was performed in accordance with the contract agreement and specifications. In addition, costs incurred in the contract cannot be validated. Recommendation, we recommend Recreation and Parks maintain records that support cost billed in the monthly billing estimates submitted by contractors. Such support should include invoices, project inspector reports, evidence of project manager's approval, and any other documentation that supports the contractor's compliance with the contract costs and specification.
Good morning, Board. While the agency do agree, this project, of course, unfortunately was completed prior to my arrival as well as my current chief. We have now put in place new requirements, and those individuals who were inspectors, unfortunately, as they was doing this audit, are no longer with this agency. So we did find some inaccuracies, but we are making sure that going forward that we dot our I's and cross our T's when it comes to any contract.
Finding number 2, waterproofing membrane. DSM Properties, LLC, did not apply the bituminous waterproofing membrane at the Radke Park toilet facility as required by the contract. The approved change order for a different block design did not specify excluding application of the bituminous waterproofing membrane. Per the City of Baltimore specifications Green Book, the approved plan shall be performed in strict accordance with the specifications and other contract documents. No deviation from the plans or specifications should occur unless approved in advance by the engineer and authorized in writing. Per contract RP 15826, guidelines and summary of work for DSM Properties LLC was contracted to install at masonry cavity walls, code applied, emulsified all asphalt waterproofing membrane for the construction of Radke Park toilet facility located at 5602 Radke Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland. The cause, DSM Properties LLC, stated the bituminous waterproofing membrane was a part of the original project specifications, which required a smaller double block design. However, the original design was modified and approved by the project manager. The revised design required larger single blocks design and omitted waterproofing. The cost of the original double block and waterproofing was credited back to Baltimore City. The effect, DSM Properties failed to comply with the project specifications that required bituminous waterproofing membrane be applied to the masonry cavity walls. This resulted in the failure to construct the toilet facility as required by the contract agreement and specifications. We recommend Recreation Parks change orders include all necessary and appropriate documentation to support revisions to the contract.
Again, we do agree with this finding, and what we are adding is additional step beyond just the engineer, our chief of staff, chief of capital signing any change order. I also will now sign off on any change order, and the architect will be the first one to review any change orders going forward. We have reached out to this current firm, the architect. We have not gotten a response back. to confirm that they agreed to this change order with the block. They went to a bigger block, which they're stating did not require waterproofing. So we're trying to get that information to confirm.
Finding number 3, contract period. DSM Properties LLC exceed the consecutive calendar days for completion of the contract by 222 days. According to the contractor's notice to proceed, the contract period was 120 consecutive calendar days, effective January 23rd, 2017, with a completion date of May 23rd, 2017. The contract was billed through December 31st, 2017. In accordance with the Green Book, the contractor shall complete the work the number of calendar days indicated in the bid book and contract documents, if subsequently amended by the change order, or shall be considered in default under the terms of the contract. If the contractor is so considered in default, the contractor and its surety shall then be required to pay the city an amount, sum equal to the daily amount of liquidated damages as specified in the contract, multiplied by the number of days of work remained incomplete past the approved contract completion date. Additionally, the bid of proposal specifies the completion time is 120 consecutive days and the liquidated damages of $200 per consecutive calendar day. Cause extension of time and or waiver of liquidated damages was not approved for the contract. The effect, DSM Properties LLC owes the city of Baltimore $44,400 in total liquidated damages. Recommendation, we recommend DSM Properties pay the city an amount equal to the daily amount of liquidated damages as specified in the contract, multiplied by the 222 days. The work extended beyond the contract ending date of May 23rd, 2017.
And we have researched the project manager that was working this project. There's no documentation that shows whether there was any kind of agreement of rain dates. So we're going to talk to legal and see how we go about proceeding and talking to DSM at this point in time. But going forward, we're putting in our project manager has to document everything, and that's what we're stressing, and I'm making sure that our chief of capital, that he stays on top of these different projects to make sure they're documenting before this payouts are coming to me for approval.
Finding number 4, certified payroll. Condition, Recreation and Parks did not maintain completed copies of the weekly certified payroll documents as required in the Green Book. In accordance with according to the Green Book, payroll and basic records, the contractor and each of its subcontractors shall maintain payroll and basic records related thereto during the course of the work, and shall preserve them for a period of 3 years thereafter for all laborers, mechanics, and apprentices working directly upon the site of the work. The contractor shall submit 2 complete copies of its weekly project payroll and the weekly project payroll for each of its subcontractors consecutively numbered, not later than 14 days from the end of their respective payroll periods. 1 copy to be sent to the contracting agency, the other to the Wage Commission of Baltimore City, where the same will be available for public inspection during the regular business hours. Per Section G enforcement, it shall be the responsibility of the contracting agency to promptly examine all weekly project payrolls submitted by contractors of this subtitle, and the regulations to pursuance therefore, and the report of any irregularities in the Wage Commission. Cause, Recreation and Parks was not able to provide copies of certified payroll documents as evidenced in their examinations of payroll as required by the contract. The effect, contractors could have been paid below the minimum wage, which could have resulted in a penalty paid to the city. We recommend Recreation and Parks maintain and review records of all weekly certified payroll as required for each of its general contractors and subcontractors in order to ensure rates are not paid less than the minimum wage.
The agency do agree, and we, as an agency, will complete copies of weekly certified payroll determined as required by the Green Book going forward.
Okay, and that's
Okay, thank you. The orders have been noted, but in the future, this board wants the directors of each agency, when they have their performance audit, that they be here in attendance. There have been no more business before this board. We'll recess until bid opening at 12 noon.
Sorry. Good afternoon. The Board of Ethics is now in session for the receiving and the opening of bids. There are no addenda for today's meeting. WC 1363, Allendale Neighborhood and Vicinity Water Main Rehabilitation. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. Spiniello Companies with a bid bond. $10,563,300. J. Fletcher Kramer and Son, Inc., with a bid bond. $11,763,988. Civil Construction, LLC, with a bid bond. $12,280,262.50. Thank you. R.E. Harrington Plumbing and Heating Company, Inc., with a bid bond. $9,329,174.
I sure do. All right, all of these bids will be referred to the Department of Public Works for review. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. I was getting Department of Public Works and Department of Recreation and Parks, RP 17821, Druid Hill Comfort Station in Grove Number 3. A bid bond is required if the amount is over $100,000. C&N Associates LLC, $499,995 with a bid bond.
This will be referred to the Department of Public Works for review.
B50005507. Previously, this bid was listed as B50054887. That was canceled and reopened as B50005507. A bid security is not required.
I think she'll take questions after we do the opening.
Yes.
So-
Yes, thank you. I didn't see. Thank you very much. Page 9. Insane Impact, $54,900. And I think I made a mistake. They're probably together. Let's see. Trying to see. Okay, now let's. Yeah, I made an error. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So this is how it is then. This should be the second one. That's the new number. That's the first number. That's why I read both. Okay, so we'll be okay now. I'm sorry. Okay.
Page 9.
Yeah, I can get the name now. Thank you. System One Holdings LLC, doing business as Team People, $163,982.64.
Both bids will be referred to the Bureau of Procurement for review.
Okay. So someone who wants to address the board, if so, please come forward and state your name and the company you represent. You can address one of the mics here, please, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Sireen Awadallah, and I'm from Estimate Enterprises. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up here and speak. So I arrived to submit the bid for RP 17821 Druid Hill Comfort Station. I arrived about 35 seconds before 11 a.m. And I was informed by the Ms. Cooper that I didn't have the full information for the business or the number. I had the title of the project, and literally by the time I finished writing them, it was like 2 seconds or 3 seconds past the time. So I'm just asking and requesting that my bid is accepted. And I also wanted to note that there was an addendum that was assigned, I guess, or put on this project sometime between end of business last night and this morning when I got to the office, and there was no change in the date, which definitely contributed in why we were late. So that's my case. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Cooper?
Yes. At 10:58, Ms. Catherine from the Department of Real Estate put on the U.S. government time that we use, played it on the speaker for everyone to hear. At 10:59 and 30 seconds, Ms. Serene came in and she went to Michael Peters, who works at the front desk downstairs. He informed her, and Catherine did also, that she had to bring the bid to me to accept. When she brought the bid to me, it was 10 o'clock, 59 minutes and 35 seconds. Told her I was unable to accept the bid because her company's information nor the solicitation information were on the envelope. When she asked for a pen. Ms. Catherine gave her a pen at 10:59 and 45 seconds. Kathy told her of the time. By the time she finished filling it out, it was 11:02. I told her I was unable to accept the bid, and she would be able to come to the bid meeting and plead her case.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Opple, anything you want to add to that?
Just that it was 10:59 and 45 seconds when I handed her the pen. I informed her she only had 15 seconds. And at the time, at 11 o'clock, I yelled, "It's 11 o'clock," and she still had the bid in her hand. So it was like 2 seconds after she tried to hand the bid in, and that's when Ms. Cooper informed her that she couldn't accept it.
Okay. All right. Ms. Abdallah, the instructions are pretty clear, and they are also stated in our city charter that bids must be received by 11 o'clock a.m. So this board does not have discretion to accept your bid. We appreciate the effort you put forward, and we understand you had the addendum, which didn't change the date. Sometimes they change the date, sometimes they do not. So because of the charter and the clear statement that you did submit it after 11 a.m., we're not able to accept it.
Is that the final opinion of everybody, even though there was an addendum and I was literally there on time?
Yes, the city charter does state that they have to, the charter is very clear, and it does state that they have to be in by 11. And even though you may have been seconds after 11, it's after 11 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Cooper and Ms. Soppel. There being no further business, we are adjourned.